Well, hello, everybody watching on Pivot Shift Ahead. It's your friend James Shaw. Trust you're doing okay. Happy Wednesday to you. We have been talking about this for a little bit. The book came out back in September, Your First Home. This is the update from Gary and Jay. The original of this came out several years ago, but they've done a great update. We had April Murphy on, who runs publishing at KWRI. She was on one of our morning calls to walk you through it. She's since shared the presentation, but wow, is the timing perfect for this or what? Because the market has gotten just wild for buyers. They're so confused. They don't understand what's happening. Interest rates might have them freaked out. And so Gary says it's our job to provide perspective to our buyers and sellers so they understand what's happening. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about how you can use, the book and the First Time Home Buyer Seminar to really help you provide the right kind of information to buyers in this market. And to do that, we pulled together three people that are doing buyer seminars at a high level and adding great value to their people. And so let's start and chat about it. Charlotte, would you introduce yourself? Tell everybody who you are and where you're from and a little bit about your business.
Sure. So my name is Charlotte Savoy. I am in Central Maryland, and I have two different businesses. One of them is a small and mighty real estate team that services all of Maryland. Last year, we did $3.2 million in GCI with 5 people. I'm also the president of Business Maps Training and Coaching and the Millionaire Business Network, working with Gary and Abe Shreve.
Which is awesome, and I've heard great things about it. Thanks for being here. Joel, who are you?
Yes, sir. Joel Holland, one guess of where I'm at in Chicago, and then now expanded to the North Shore, which are the north suburbs of Chicago. Last year, we did 54 million, about 1.6 in GCI, and we actually have a full-time leasing team and a sales team as well, which we'll talk about how the leasing team really drives our ability to service first-time buyers.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah. What a great lead gen source for that group. I love it. Suzette, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hey everyone, my name is Suzette Berkhalter. I am a realtor here in the Orlando, Florida area, Sunshine State. I am a single agent. I have an executive assistant, and so it's just me. I've been in this for 6 years now and been with Keller Williams since day one.
I love that. And you've got fun internet today, but we're going to roll with it and make it happen because that's what we do in a live call. But you're a solo agent in there. So here's what I love is we've got some teams, we've got solo agents. There's something for everybody on here, which is great. But the thing about doing first-time home buyers, it seems like a really good idea. But why, Charlotte, would you even consider doing that? You've got a big team. Why would we consider first-time home buyers even as a strategy?
So we love first-time home buyers. I think a lot of us got into real estate to help people just like first-time home buyers. What I would say is it's a really good way to fill your pipeline. I would not say that first-time home buyers are always now buyers, but they are really good buyers that are also really good sources of referrals. Because once you can help them accomplish their goal of owning a home, you get connected to everybody that they know. And so from a perspective of looking to build your database and build your pipeline, first-time home buyers are a great way to do that.
I love that. You're gonna be able to add value to more people. You meet them in the beginning of that cycle. So this is someone that can stay in your database for a long time. I think it's really smart. Suzette, as an individual agent, was this a very purposeful strategy for you to kind of grow your database and launch your business? What was the win for you? Okay, she's frozen. So Joel, you answer that question. What was the win for you on this?
Yeah, so actually our when I got
internet is so bad. I think that you said, what is the win for me when it comes to first-time home buyers?
It was. Go ahead, give it a shot. We'll see if the internet will work for us. It's all good. No worries. Joel, go ahead. Take it away. We're going to get Suzette figured out.
Well, part of it was our firm actually, when I first got into real estate, we were only helping renters. And so for us, it was actually a really natural progression of helping them buy their first place. So it wasn't even a business decision.
I started buyers seminars back in 2017.
Just go ahead, Joel. We'll get it figured out. Keep going.
Well, part of working with first-time buyers is you got to make sure your tech is right because they demand the most for that. So I said, because we started off as a leasing agent, we naturally progressed to first-time home buyers. And actually, to further go off what Charlotte mentioned, not only are they not necessarily now buyers, but the good news is if you pour into them, you get referrals, but they have no attorneys, they have no lenders, they have no inspectors yet. And so they are an open, moldable book to be able to have you be their go-to guide as a resource. And so getting in on the leasing, the renting side allows you to get in even earlier before they even know they want to own a home. So for us, it was a natural progression.
I think it's super smart, and I love it. It makes a lot of sense. My guess is, as you started doing these seminars, that the conversation has changed. That you guys, by the way, I think you got early copies of the book, and we're doing these seminars to support KWRI in making it all work. My guess is, though, that in the time that you started doing this with them, and then what's happened since, that the conversations have changed a little bit. Suzette, we're going to give you another shot. We're going to give you one more shot and see if your internet's working for us. What changes, or how has the conversation changed with your first-time home buyers here over the last few weeks and months?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, it's all about the interest rates and them just being concerned about the interest rates. So it's just been my focus to educate, 2%, 3% for the past few years, but normal interest 6% is super high compared to, what's happening to physically normal. So it's just educating on what a normal market looks like, and then explaining about the interest rates, just to kind of get them pushing, moving forward.
Okay, I love that. So we got it, right? It's helping them understand the changes in the interest rates and how that impacts them, giving a historical perspective. Charlotte, have you covered that? What's changed for you over the last few months with conversations with first-time homebuyers? Because I imagine there are some different fears now.
Sure. I think, yes, there's a lot of different fears with the interest rates, and the conversations are changing. I think from a perspective of this particular book and this content, we started doing first-time homebuyer seminars in 2016 with the original material. And it's really neat to see how it's evolved. The new material does a really good job of covering a lot of fears that people would have, and allowing you the ability, especially in the presentation part of it, to insert specific slides that you would need to address immediate and now concerns. Our conversations are changing weekly, and I just think the tool that they've given us is so awesome, because we can edit it and change it. Yes, buyers have fears about interest rates. They have fears about inspections. Just today on our team, we sold the same house for the 4th time in 30 days. All 3 times the 3 times it fell through at home inspection with first-time home buyers. The 4th contract is the original buyer who got cold feet. So it's just rapidly changing, and really all of the things are scaring them. The things on the news, inflation, the cost of food, everything. And I think you just have to address them quickly and just change and pivot as you need to.
Well, and that's why it feels like that this first-time homebuyer seminar is a really smart idea to educate people. And so if you're looking for it, by the way, it's in KW Connect. If you go to kwconnect.com and type in Your First Home, which is the name of the book, then the seminar will pop up. And as you said, Charlotte, you can go and edit it. They've done a great job putting big yellow boxes anywhere where you need to go do an edit so that you don't miss anything. But Joel, I imagine it's allowing you to calm some of those fears coming in and set the record straight.
Yeah, so that's I love that you asked that. Thank you, because there was an actual, all right, everybody pause for a moment, get a pen out. This is your actual tactical shift ahead script moment. It's easy to talk about tactically getting education, but with these first-time home buyers, a lot of buyers are saying, you know what, I'm just going to wait for the market to come down. So how do you get them to even show up for the education in the first place? And so a two-parter is, one, what we call a level shift, which is thank you to Language of Sales through KW MAPS coaching, so it sounds like you want to make sure you get the right deal. Is that right? And so first of all, instead of worrying about handling the objection of waiting for the market to come down, which we cannot control, I can handle addressing, you want to get a good deal, right? Well, that's exactly why we should meet and learn about what you could, should, would, if you are actually looking to explore a home purchase. And then you can actually even say, like, if the right deal came up now, would that be a problem? And I found that that's been like the one good question where people are like, you know what, I just extended my lease. I'm going to rent until June of next year, wait for the market to come down, and say, okay, over the next 3 months, if the right sale came up now, is that a problem? And they say, well, yeah, I'd be open. Okay, then let's schedule an hour to go through everything you would need to know right now, and be prepared but patient. And
It
so
sounds
that's
great.
really cool.
I love this, and I love that you're using the stuff you learned from MAPS, the stuff you learned from KWU, all of those things tie together into one. And Gary said at Mega Camp, we're going from a service first, skills second, market to a skills first, service second market. Growing your skill set right now and using the right tools is going to be vital. It seems like, Joel, that honestly the presentation and the stuff covered in Your First Home really could support any buyer looking in the market right now.
Yeah, that's the fun part is, so we've been doing this presentation since 2006 of some form, and then being able to sell, instead of, we're not trying to sell houses, right? Showing up for a listing appointment is let me sell your house. And for a first-time home buyer and using education, we're selling education. This is just purely on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I have no idea, 10 you're an expert, where would you put yourself? And if you're under a 5, you can say, well, let's sit down and go through this presentation, read the book, and you're going to leave as an 8 or a 9 in understanding how to own a home and why you should own a home and the benefits. Would that be helpful? And so all we're doing is actually just selling, hey, give me an hour to help you be educated and confident. And then during that session, when the client is like, oh my goodness, why didn't we do this 3 years ago? Or, oh my goodness, we can do this, we can afford it. It's like this beautiful turning point in that moment where you become the advocate. It's the interview for the job, and you're using education to have them sell themselves instead of you convince them to own a home.
Yeah, and you become a hero because ultimately, if someone learns what's actually happening in the market, once they buy their house, they're usually pretty darn happy they did it, and you've become a hero. All right, so we got to get people there. I know some of you doing it as workshops and where people show up. Suzette, how are you marketing it? What are you doing to get people to show up at these seminars?
Yeah, so I do my seminars both on Zoom and in person. And the way that we do it is we do Facebook through command. We have a list of everyone that's registered for a past seminar that didn't attend. They get an email blast for each new seminar that we're doing. We send out email to our entire database. I market heavily on social media, and we also do it. So those are the channels to how we really advertise it and get a good return.
I love that. I love the idea of follow up with the people who've RSVP'd in the past and for whatever reason didn't come. That's someone who raised their hand before. Let them tell you they're no longer interested instead of just assuming. I think it's great. Charlotte, I love from the notes that I got that said that, and this is a team that's making $3 million a year selling real estate. You spend $150 on these events. The return is pretty good. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, we do. Our budget is $150 per event. Like Suzette, we do them both in person and Zoom. So we offer both options. And one of the reasons that we didn't stop doing Zoom when COVID kind of lightened up a little bit was because what we found was that some people were really nervous to attend in person, but they really wanted the information. So we left it as a hybrid, and we do get a lot of people that still show up on Zoom that would not come if we didn't do that. The $150 is spent entirely on command ads on social media. So we do exactly the same thing that Suzette does. We do social media ads. We do images and posting on all of our personal social media. We reach out to the buyers that have bought with us in the last 2 years that were first-time home buyers. We also door knock apartment complexes, which sounds crazy, but they need to buy. So we canvass apartment complexes with flyers. We ask for forgiveness, not permission, and invite them to come to our seminars. So, and then what we do is we ask our lender and our title company to come and provide breakfast and snacks and things like that so that we zero out the cost of it.
I love your asking for forgiveness because I'm thinking the apartment communities do not love you going
They don't love us, no.
Right. Absolutely not. And yet, yes, go ask forgiveness and you're great. But again, it's command ads. I know, Joel, you're doing the same thing. You're doing social media. You're doing all that stuff to get people there. So I get that. We get people there, tell our database the whole deal. We come in, do the presentation. Suzette, you said just do the presentation KW has created, right? That's the easy button. Just follow that. Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's literally a plug and play. You just got to put in all your personal information. And it's really awesome, especially for people that are going to start doing these seminars, because it just go through the slides and know exactly what to talk about with them. Also, yeah, absolutely. The presentation is super awesome addition to these
Yeah,
events,
they spell
for
it
sure.
out for you exactly what to do. kwconnect.com is where you find it, and you go type in your first home, the presentation will pop up. So last thing I want to talk about today is then follow-up. I feel like my gut tells me, Joel, that this is a long-term play. So your follow-up really matters. That yes, there might be people who come and they're ready to go, and you go take them out and they're under contract in 2 weeks. It feels like, though, I might be wrong, it feels like, though, this isn't all in for a long time, several months, maybe more, requires some follow-up. Yes?
Well, not only there's 2 points to that, James. So one is, yes, so we're talking about a 6 to 18 month lead cycle typically, but two really important notes is, one, if they're a first-time buyer, that means they're either living at home with mom and dad or whatever their familial status is, or they're renting. And so if you happen to know their lease date, that's your cue of 3 months into their current lease, 6 months into their current lease, and then at least 4 months before the lease ends. Those are your touch points to make sure you're asking them what's the plan when the lease comes up. So at least, even though it could be longer, you have your dates of when you can go. And if you know what they're paying in rent, you can say, hey, by the way, I know your rent's not, your lease isn't up until June, but this place just came up. It'll be less than you're paying in rent right now. Would you be interested in learning more? So knowing their cadence, not just the number of phone calls, but the cadence will be your best tool. And then part two, if I got another 2 seconds, is being able to actually say, because they're going to take longer, get that buyer broker agreement signed during these presentations, because you don't want to be working with someone for showing houses for a year and then not buying or not being committed to you, and they walk into an open house and buy the next thing. So for me, this is about education and your interview for the job to walk out with the buyer broker agreement. I can't.
It seems like a buyer broker agreement would be a total layup in this. That once you've walked them through the presentation, that's the natural next step, and so it should, almost 100% of the time it should get signed. Would be my thoughts. Charlotte, anything to add on follow up from your team?
We put them into drip campaigns. We have a cadence of communication with them. I would agree with Joel that I told your team that I would look at our numbers. In the last 24 months, we've had 215 people come to a first-time homebuyer seminar, and we have sold 37 of them. And that's virtual and online. It's better conversion than a random internet lead, and they do take time. Our average is 9.5 months. So making sure that they're in some type of drip program, and that they're invited to your client events, and that they have the ability to participate in a lot of the things that you're doing, because we have found that a lot of these people, even while they're working to improve their credit and that kind of thing, they are so grateful for the education that you provided to them that they will refer you to other people that are actually ready right now, that are their age and their status and ready to go. So put them in a command drip campaign and just keep loving on them.
I know Suzette's using smart plans too, but I want to make sure I got this. You said 36 closings.
Yeah.
Is that right? From these workshops that you've done over a 2-year period, 24 months.
Yep.
Okay. So how many a month? Do you do one a month? What's the rhythm for that?
We've been doing them quarterly. We're building out our plan for 2023. We may switch that to monthly because we've got it pretty well down to a science now. So yeah.
Well, I'm just doing math. So $150 times 8 is $1,200. 36 transactions. You're in Maryland. Yeah. I don't know. I'm $10,000.
Yeah, 10,000 is an average commission.
Yeah. So I mean, you're talking, 360,000.
Yep.
In GCI in 2 years out of 1,200.
And that doesn't even include.
That's way better return than what someone's getting from buying stuff from Zillow or whatever. That return is ridiculous. As long as you're willing to do the follow-up work. Are you kidding me?
Yep. And that doesn't include the referrals that have been generated by those people. So.
Well, they run into their best friend or whatever, and they're like, yeah, we're thinking about buying a house. Oh my gosh, you need to go see Charlotte and her team. We just went to this great workshop. We're not ready yet, but I learned so much. Here's the book they get. I mean, I could see it just absolutely blowing up. This is an absolute no-brainer.
Can I add a line item of possible income leads here? Think about your first-time home buyer. And so when I coach, I have some coaching clients a lot who are newer in the business, first or 2 year in the business. And I ask them, how often are you working with renters? And then ask yourself, what percentage of those renters are you asking for an introduction to their landlord? because if they're renting, they have a landlord. If it's a professional management company, you're obviously not getting that listing. But what if it's an individual landlord? What if it's a small management company? Maybe you're getting that rental listing when this client moves out and buys, or what if that landlord wants to buy more property? Or what if that landlord wants to sell once this tenant is out and you already have an existing relationship with the tenant? So you may double your lead source with every single first-time buyer you find as well.
It's so genius. All right, we got to put a bow on this. This has been great. The advice I have is, first, go get the book. You can get it at kellerinc.com. It's Your First Home. Read it, understand it. Then go download the presentation. Presentation is free. It's sitting in KW Connect. You just search Your First Home and you go customize it. So that's my pro tip, but I want to hear the pro tips from the rest of you. So Joel, we'll start with you. What's the final thought pro tip you want to give everybody who's watching?
Well, the final pro tip, I aside from the script and the ask for the intro to the landlord, is decide as you're deciding who you want to be. Are you an agent who's going to show up, a lead comes in and you're going to say, I'll meet you at that house tomorrow? Or are you going to say, a lead comes in and say, you know what, it sounds like you want to buy a home, let me teach you how to do it. And I think that's going to have a difference in how you're going to run your business, your systems, and your processes. So figure out, depending on lead per lead or your system, are you going to be giving education on the fly and work with 10 clients and maybe get 5 closings, or actually sit down and take extra education with them and have a much higher closing percentage?
Yeah, no doubt. When I talked to Brittany, who's on Jenny Wallach's team, she said she does all this stuff on the front end. She's spending so much time with them on the front end. So she might meet with fewer people, but her conversion rate is way higher and it's a way better use of her time. So I think that's really smart. Suzette, what's your pro tip?
Consistency and follow-up. It's really all on the follow-up. And once you have your system in place, your smart plans and all of that, everything that's changing up the date, the time, and starting the whole process over. So I do them monthly, and I find a really good return on doing them monthly. So consistency and follow-up for sure.
Rinse and repeat. Do it again. Charlotte, what's your pro tip?
So one of the things that we do with our first-time home buyers, and really all of our home buyers, is we offer them a free housewarming party that we host for them. We send out the invite. We get their whole database, their whole mailing list. We come to the party. We have the lender and title company sponsor it. So don't let the transaction be the last communication that you have with them. Offer them the housewarming party. Go do it for them. Bring a stack of these books so that you can meet their other friends and offer to do the same thing for them.
That's genius. All good stuff. I appreciate all three of you sharing today. Congratulations on your success. And now, those of you watching, you have a decision to make, right? Are you going to leverage the tools that we have to make life easier for you? Or are you going to look around and go, well, gosh darn it, the market's down 25%. Now what do I do? You have a choice to make. Go make the right one, right? At some point, you got to go from inspiration to perspiration. These three amazing agents gave you great ideas on how to do that today, so go make it happen. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate you. Charlotte, Suzette, Joel, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time, everybody. Have a good one. Bye-bye.